Hello and welcome to the Mani and Fariha show. I am Fariha and I'm here by myself today, missing you, Mani. She wasn't able to make it, but she is definitely here with us in spirit. Those of you who listen to our radio show are familiar with our topics and with some of our guests. And today we have a guest who has been a regular. She's been on the radio show a couple of times now, Ms. Fatima Gold. Welcome.
Thank you, Fariha. It's been a pleasure to be here.
I'm so happy to hear that. And today we are discussing a very specific topic, and that is your book, which is Over the Wall. And I know that all of us would like to know how you yourself got over the wall and a bit more about this book.
Thank you. So the book is about my memoirs, a love story, and I wrote the book because I wanted to encourage people to get over the walls of their life.
And what do you mean to get over the wall?
So like when you get stuck or you hit a brick wall, as I always say in life, what is it that you do when you're stopped? Because the premise is that there's hope for anyone at any time, at any age. And I wanted to help people, to give them little nuggets, to give them little snippets of things that could get them over those walls, over those humps, over the valleys, over the mountains, as you would say. But for me, it was over the walls of life. And, I want to just say, imagine if you are like, I take you into the future and like there's 1 million people who have picked up this book and they are touched, moved, and inspired, they've gotten to a situation where they just had enough and they just want another piece of something just to get them over the walls. Just to look at their relationships differently, their careers differently, their finances differently, their families differently. Whatever the situation is, it's probably covered in this book because I am you and you are me and we are one. And I just want people just to be able to have a little hope, where there's hope for anyone at any time and at any age, right? So if we come back to today and the present time, and what I really want people to take away is that there is always something out there to give you hope, to get you over that wall, because there isn't anything that you can't overcome. There isn't anything that you can't conquer. So if you're a single parent and you are stuck with the same old job, same old, there's something in here for you to get over that wall too.
Absolutely. And as you said, that this book is truly your biography. It encompasses your entire life, and there is so much in it. A love story, all the hurdles that you've been through, all the trials and tribulations, and all the walls that you got over. It actually reminds me, when you were saying how we get over the wall, of the movie Finding Nemo. And Dory, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. So just keep on getting over the wall, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. And there's always, life isn't as such that, you expand and you get to a certain place and then you have to start at ground zero again and then you hit another one and another one, because that's what life is all about. It comes with its ups and downs. It comes with its trials and tribulations. It's never, it's always going and sailing smooth, and then there's something there. And then, I took a personal development course, and it says that we develop who we are at an early age. We decide who we're going to be by the things that happen to us early on in life, how we're going to treat people, how people treat us. We make it mean something. Yeah. And in that, we form who we are. And it's looking at that particular thing of how I formed who I was as a child, living in Barbados and migrating to Canada at 8 years old. You know what I mean? Mm. It's always something for those people who are there. That's in here too.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that at a very early age, even before the age of 8, you identified who you were, and then you decided, this is who I am, going through life. And then when we decide something, let's say at the age of 5 or 6 or 7, it may not serve us as an adult.
That's right. So you're always looking at life through the lens of a child, right? But you're a full-grown person with a child running your life. And it comes in the, when we're in a relationship and the person isn't doing what we want, when we want, and how we want. You want to pout, you want to get upset, you want to just
throw a tantrum.
Yeah, exactly. But as a full-grown person, that doesn't work, right? Yeah. And I'm sure you that have kids, you can't treat your 3-year-old the same way you treat your 6-year-old, the same way you treat your 16-year-old, the same way you treat your 26-year-old. It just doesn't work. So we just have to really realize, like, who we are in that moment and realize, there's time to change, there's time to grow, and there's time for transformation.
Very much so. And when we are, let's say in our 30s, we can't go around behaving like a 6-year-old.
No, that really doesn't work, especially if you have a spouse, if you have kids. You know, some people, your temper tantrum may not be that other person's temper tantrum, and you just have to learn to coexist. Yeah. And sometimes you can, and sometimes you can't, and then there's a wall.
What I'd like to speak about now is the love story that's written in your book. And I've had the pleasure and privilege to read the book already. And you and Ronald, who you are now married to, met as teenagers, right?
Yes.
And then there was such a vast gap in your life when you weren't together.
Right.
You had completely separate lives. And for you to meet again, that in itself gives so much people hope.
Yes, it does. And, you know, I've heard other stories about other people, without giving away too much that's in the book,
yes,
that went through similar things. They knew their spouse or the person that they were interested at a young age. Then everybody goes their separate ways, and they come back together again by whichever medium, either meeting at a reunion, at a party, somebody introduces somebody to somebody, and then there you go, the spark is there again. Yeah. And it's like time has never passed. And you know that you know that that's the person, because you just feel the same way. You feel so comforted, and you feel so loved, and you feel so trusting of that person that it's just so easy to get together with them.
It's like a coming home to.
Yes.
Yes. I actually saw a documentary a few years ago about couples who, for whatever reason, met as teenagers and then didn't end up together. And then they met each other in their 50s, 60s, even 70s. And they said when they saw each other, oh my God, you look exactly the same as you did back then. And all those feelings and emotions, they just surge out again, and they're exactly the same.
Right. They just come out at a, you know, there's always a reason and a season and a time and a place for everything. And then when you meet that person again, it's just your season. And it's whether or not you're open to embracing it, or you're just going to let it pass you by because, you know, self-doubt comes in. Nah, that's not the right person. There's too many years. They don't like me. We've got changed too much. I've got kids. I've got that. So many things can come into your mind. But if you're ready, willing, and an open vessel, they're all walls, right? That you have to overcome. And then, you know, you just have to be open to it. And it could be just a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Very much so. Also, when you talk about walls and what you were talking about, our journey of life, that's basically what it is. Our life is a journey. There is never a getting there. There is never reaching a point where there is no wall. Ultimately, that would be our grave, I would say. But every time we think that, oh, I've gotten over this wall, and you're proceeding further, there's always going to be another. Right. So we can anticipate that the walls will be coming. Right.
And as you grow and as you expand, you know, there's always going to be some other hurdle to get over for your expansion, because on the other side is where the transformation lives. On the other side is the blessing. On the other side, you know, you just don't want to get so close to that fault line and then you give up. And then, you know, you have to dig just a little bit deeper and to the left before you sell everything, like in Think and Grow Rich. I love that analogy in that story. Think and Grow Rich, the guy who sold everything. I'm not going to strike gold. And he sells it. And the next person comes and digs just an inch more and to the right. And there you hit your goal. So I would encourage everyone never to give up. Just keep pressing on and pressing through, because the fault line is to the little to the left and an inch deeper.
That's all it takes. A little to the left and an inch deeper, and you've reached it. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And any plans for your next book?
Not at this moment, but, you know, we want this one to come out, and we want this one to reach far and wide, and we just encourage everyone to go on the website.
Well, you already said it, Fatima, 1 million people.
1 million people, yes. And then we can think about the next one. I'm sure there'll be many more, because this one can be broken down into so many areas. So it could be a love story. It could be raising of kids. It could be, you know, new immigrants coming here and the challenges that they face, because I seem to think that the challenges are still the challenges, right?
Absolutely.
And everybody comes for a better life.
Yeah. For sure, very much so. As you said, there is so much wealth of knowledge and experience in your book, Over the Wall, and we encourage millions and millions of people to read it because it is worth the read. Any plans of having it translated into different languages?
I would say sure. Yeah. Why not, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's timeless, and it doesn't have to do with, it's human beings, right? So the premise is that we're looking at hope in human form. So there's hope for anyone at any time, at any age. And as a human being, it doesn't matter what language you speak, you're still a human being. And that someone needs hope.
Yeah. All right. Beautiful. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. Always a pleasure and delight to have you. And once again, Over the Wall, grab your copy while you can. Is it available on Amazon or other sites?
We will release it after the launch on Thursday.
Okay. So thank you so much for being with us. We have just been speaking with Fatima Gold and her book, Over the Wall. In our next segment, we will be speaking with Mr. Arman Shafi, who had a very popular show on the radio. And once we return, we will discuss his adventure to Miami. So stay tuned. After the break, we will be speaking with Arman Shafi.